All right, in this section, 21 through 24, we are supposed to factor each polynomial and then check your answer. So looking at the first one, number 21, here I have 5x minus 15x to the third. Well, looking at the greatest common factor between 5 and 15, the biggest number that will fit into both evenly is going to be 5. And as previously mentioned in our other exercises, the variable with the smallest exponent is the greatest common factor. So in this case, it's going to be x. Inside the parentheses, now we would say, gee, what would I multiply 5x by to get 5x? And your answer should be 1. Again, asking that question, what would I multiply 5x by to get negative 15x cubed? Hopefully you're going to tell me negative 3x squared. Okay, so how do I know if this is the correct factorization? Well, let's multiply them backwards and see if we get the same thing. In other words, distribute. Multiply 5x by 1, then multiply 5x by negative 3x squared, and see if we get the original expression. 5x times 1 is 5x. 5x times negative 3x squared is negative 15x to the third. So yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, that is the correct factorization for that particular polynomial. Heading to 22. 22. Here I have negative 16b plus 32. Now again, I asked myself, what is the biggest number that will fit into 16 and 32 evenly? And hopefully you're going to tell me 16. Leaving me with a negative b, and then 16 times what is 32? And you pipe in 2, Mr. Levelford, and that would be absolutely correct. So, again, to check, distribute. If I were to take 16 and multiply it by both of the terms inside the parentheses, I would get 16 times negative b, which is negative 16b, and 16 times 2, which gives me 32. So that is indeed a correct factorization. Heading to 23. 23. Here I have negative 14v minus 21. Now both these terms are negative, so I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's probably a negative number that fits in evenly into negative 14 and negative 21. Indeed, it is negative 7. Negative 7. There's no v here, so v is not a common factor between these two terms. So it's negative 7. Inside the parentheses then, we'd ask ourselves, what would Mr. Levelford multiply negative 7 by to get negative 14v? And the answer is 2v. 2v times negative 7 is negative 14v. Negative 7 times a positive 3 will give Mr. Levelford a negative 21. So that is the correct factorization for that polynomial. Now let's distribute to make sure we did it right. Negative 7 times 2v is negative 14v, and negative 7 times 3 is indeed a negative 21. Check. Last one, 24. 24, here I have 4a squared minus 12a minus 8. Looking at the numbers first, I say to myself, what is the largest number that fits in evenly into 4, 12, and negative 8? And you say, it's 4. Notice that a is not in all three terms, therefore it is not a common factor. So we're going to leave a alone. Now, what would I multiply 4 by to get 4a squared? You would say a squared. What would I multiply 4 by to get negative 12a? You would say negative 3a. And what would I multiply 4 by to get a negative 8? You would say a negative 2. A negative 2. So that is the factorization. And again, distribute to make sure you did it right. So 4 times a squared, 4a squared. 4 times negative 3a, negative 12a. 4 times negative 2, negative 8. So indeed, we come up with the original expression. It is a check.